Hey, it's Tycoon with StockMarketInvestingToday.com, and today I wanted to talk about developing my stock market investing system in a little bit more detail. Um, what I've done today is kind of talk about 5 steps to put your plan together, and the first one should be each day you should look at the market and determine the market direction. So, in my post today, I spent some time talking about um, what to look at to do that. Write down the steps you take each day. I go to IBDinvestors.com each day and I listen to the IBD TV market wrap and also read the IBD big picture column to get an idea of what they say the market trend is. Now, right now, they're indicating that the market is in a correction, which means you shouldn't be making any new stock buys. Now, after that, what I did is I kind of broke down what I wanted to do. So the first step in my action plan is to determine the stock market direction today. And then I wrote down the list of steps that I felt were important to do so that I wouldn't leave any out. I suggest you make a checklist to keep track of what you're doing, and then you'll take some things and you'll move them in, you'll move them out, put them in different orders. But eventually, if you break it down into a specific set of steps that you take each day, you'll learn to execute your plan and do it a little bit faster each and every day. Um, the keys on the market direction are that if an index closes higher on higher volume, that the institutions are buying stocks. If an index closes lower on higher volume, that means they're selling. If an index closes higher or lower and the volume's lower, then pretty much, you know, for now, as a beginning investor, you can just kind of ignore it. You're interested in the other two. Um, as a secondary indicator, I found a guy who has a blog called chrisperuna.com, and he talks about using new highs and new lows as a ratio to kind of get confirmation on market trend. So I'm not sure how I'm going to utilize this, but I did start to keep track of the the new highs and new lows, and I set a spreadsheet up for both the New York Stock Exchange and the Nasdaq. Here's a picture of it. Um, After that, once you determine market direction, the next thing you're going to have to do is take the universe of stocks and reduce them down to a certain number of stocks that you want to review each day. To me, that seems to be the most difficult thing. And so, over at Chris's blog, he's got a nice post about fundamental screens and scans. He lists 8 that he uses. He uses a custom screen wizard through dailygraphs.com, which I have checked out, and I have to tell you, it's really cool. He also gives you the settings to put in for all the stocks that you want to look for. Now, the only problem with that is that back when he got it, he could subscribe to a monthly subscription, where if you want to do it today, you got to pay for the whole equity package from dailygraphs.com, which is a great package, but it costs about $1,000 a year, or if you do it on a monthly basis, 112 bucks a month. If you're just starting out, I would suggest that you know you don't uh, lay down the money for that. So what I'm doing instead is, rather than try and use his screens, I'm just going to substitute a few different ones. So I wrote down his screens here and how I felt like I could best replicate them. And as I go on here in other posts, I'm going to talk about refining the steps to come up with a list of stocks that we can check out every day. Now, the first one he had was quality stocks within 10% of the 200-day moving average. And just using the subscription for the paper at investors.com, I didn't see a way to replicate that scan. So what I'm actually going to use in its place is a couple columns in the paper called Stocks in the News. These are some stocks that'll be high quality stocks that I can look at. The second one he suggested were quality stocks that were trading within 15% of 52-week highs. And here I felt that the weekly review column uh, best fit that condition, and those are the stocks that's the screen I'm going to focus on. His third screen was institutional sponsorship was increasing. And in this case, I'm going to use a combination of screens. One of them is watching the stocks that go up in higher volume each day. It's kind of stocks on the move column. And also there's a screen of the day called Accelerating Mutual Fund Ownership. And between those two, that's how I'm going to fine tune my list there. His fourth screen was really easy to duplicate. It's called Quality Stocks Making New 52-Week Highs. And I actually built this list following just going to the paper and look at the new highs and the criteria that he used, and actually compared what I chose to the custom screen wizard, and I got the exact same list. It takes a little longer to complete it. If I get a chance, I'll go through and show you how I'm going to create that list. That might be the first one that I lay out and work out the details for. The next one he had was quality stocks with a new IPO within the past 2 years. In this case, I decided to go with a screen called Young Guns, which you can find under the screen of the day. His next one is his official CanSlim screen. Here I decided to use the IBD 100. There's also another screen called CanSlim Select under the screen of the day. I may add that as well. His seventh screen was strong earnings increases over 40%. I'm going to develop my list from the earnings reports every day, and also a screen of the day called Estimate Beaters. His final screen was a screen called Potential Shorting Opportunities. Here, I didn't really feel like that it was appropriate to talk about screening stocks for shorting opportunities because we're just going to buy along at this point. In its place, I'm going to put the IBD Top Composite 200 stocks. This is published each Thursday in the paper. And so this is the screens that I'm going to substitute. Now what I'm going to do is break down each of these screens and how I'm going to work them. And what you should do with your investing strategy is you just start with the very first step, write it down, then do the second one, then do the third one. And so I'm going to take each of these screens and break down the specific steps that I take. Once I get those down, then that'll give me a list of stocks to check each day. It won't necessarily be a watch list. I think one thing you need to be careful of is choosing making your screens be your watch list. Your screens are just stocks that show up that you want to review for possible inclusion on your watch list. And in this particular case, I'm going to define my watch list a little bit later on. So anyway, I hope that helps. And thanks for listening. StockMarketInvestingToday.com. Have a great day.